You're thinking, well, what are we going to talk to Gary about today? And I am so excited because I saw some of the social media stories, Gary, and I saw also the television stories, and I got your email, and we've been playing email back and forth off the air. And when you agreed to do this interview, I'm excited because I think I'm going to learn even more than actually some of the news stories that I read about. So good morning to you, and thank you for joining me, Gary.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
All right, Gary, so first and foremost, before we get into your amazing walk, which you're about to embark on in September, I want to get a little background on you, where you're from, born and raised, and then I want to talk about PitCare Incorporated, too, before we get into what you're about to do that's going to be absolutely amazing. So, Gary, where are you from?
From Pittsburgh. Grew up mostly in Penn Hills, graduated from Penn Hills High School in 1969.
That's awesome. Did you meet your wife there, or...
I did not. No, we were married later, and I got to get this right, 1987. So we've been married 32 years. We are a blended family, so we have 7 children and 21 grandchildren.
Oh my goodness, Gary, this is awesome. 7 combined and then 21 grandchildren.
Yes.
Oh, blessings to you both. And to be married that long, that's also, I'm not going to ask you, that's a separate interview for another day, how you stay married that long and so successfully.
Yes.
That's great. And I know we're going to get into your wife, I'm sure, at some point, but she is a big supporter of what you're doing, correct?
She is. She's making this whole thing possible. It was kind of her idea to say, hey, I'll bike along beside you from at least Pittsburgh to D.C., and I will support you. And then there's another chapter from D.C. to Orlando. So, yeah, she's 100% behind me. I don't think I would find another woman that would be willing to do this with me, but she has.
Oh, this is absolutely amazing. Amazing. Okay, Gary, so this is Melanie Taylor. Thank you once again for joining us on Sunday Magazine. We're talking to Gary Agate today, and you're thinking, well, maybe I heard about Gary, or do I know about Gary's story? And you're going to know about Gary's story. And throughout the interview, I'm going to keep giving you the website that you're going to need to follow what Gary's about to talk about very soon with us, but it's pitcare.org. It's pitcare.org, and there's going to be a link right at the top of that website that you can click on that says Mr. Gary's Walk, and that's how you're going to follow things. So before we get into what you're going to do, give us a little background, Gary, on how you got involved and what PitCare Incorporated is.
Well, after my wife and I raised our 7 children, we were in our home alone, and we decided to let's move into our retirement home, and we bought a brand new townhouse in Monroeville, and we lived there a year and a half, and I was getting a little bit antsy because I like to stay active and busy, and there was really no kids up there, and I just kind of love kids. And talked to a fellow, and he said, "Hey, if you really want to find your place, if you really want to be a help, we're both believers in Christ." And they said, if you want to work out your faith in a way that's daring or whatever, he said, "Why don't you move into a community?" So my wife said, "Perfect. It was a long story to get from here to there, but after some soul searching, and we both decided to put our townhouse up for sale, we moved into Pittsburgh 10 years ago, and immediately made friends with all the kids in the neighborhood. And from that point on, they were coming to my home for dinners and mentoring, some Bible study, and just becoming like a dad to a lot of the kids. So that's our passion, the children here in Pittsburgh.
That's absolutely amazing. And this is coming from somebody who had a blended family, 7 kids, and you just said 21 grandkids. But yet, when that all kind of went away and it kind of got quiet, you were like, nope, I need more. I need more of that interaction of children, and this is what I wanted to do. And that was just what you felt your calling was, you and your wife.
Right, and I was working at Turner Dairy at the time. I worked there for 41 years, and
wow.
I was retiring 3 years ago. And I wanted to retire from working at Turner's, but I didn't want to retire from work. So kind of transitioned that into putting all our energies down here. And we had some friends move in a block away from us, and we established PitCare, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And from that point on, we've hired a director. And, this is just a step in the way we're heading, I guess, with our organization.
So I see here, too, because you gave me some great bullet points and some notes, that 2014 is actually when PitCare Incorporated became that nonprofit. So, correct?
Yes. It took us about 4 years to get up and realize what we were doing here and what our mission was, what our passion was about. And, we decided to establish this 501c3 and call it PitCare. And, that's where we've been going since.
All right, so we're going to get into exactly what PitCare does. So if somebody's listening this morning and they're like, well, what is this? Who's Gary? What is PitCare? What is his role? We're talking this morning to Gary Agate. He is actually, I guess you are the creator and founder of PitCare Incorporated. We can say that, right? This 501c3 that finally got up and running and established in 2014. And the website is very easy. It's pitcare.org. This is Melanie Taylor on Sunday Magazine. You moved into PitCare in about 2010, and you and your wife at the time met some kids, encouraged them, came to weekly dinners, and this is how it all started. So what exactly is PitCare? Tell everybody.
PitCare, like I said, is a 501c3, and we've been able to sort of be successful in doing different things in community. One of the things we did, we purchased is the old St. Paul's Lutheran Church. There's a Meals on Wheels running underneath it, and the organization really didn't have the funds to keep it going, so we said, hey, we're kind of good at fundraising. We'll ask people to help us. We'll take over the building, and we'll keep the Meals on Wheels going. It's been going for 45 years, and they're delivering meals all around our area, so a great group of people. And then there was upstairs of the old sanctuary was a museum, and again, they didn't have time to run it, so we said, well, since we own the building, we opted, they kind of moved on, and we decided to put a library in there, a lending library, and run different programs out of that library. So that's the big thing right now. We're just finishing up. We're looking at a September 15th grand opening for our library, mentoring, tutoring. There'll be a whole battery of different things that we're going to do. I started a sort of a bicycle program down here. A lot of kids didn't have bicycles, so they know Mr. Gary, the guy with the bikes. I asked churches to donate bikes to me, and I've given away, hundreds of bicycles. We run the food pantry. We bought a building, so we run the food pantry and do distributions to about 120 families twice a month. And our big thing coming up also, we hope in the first of the year, we're talking with partnering with Family Guidance to start a mentoring program for one-on-one mentoring with kids. So it's a whole battery of things. We're looking for support for everything that we do, but mainly getting this library up and running for the children here in Pitcairn.
All right, so before we get into this big walk that's going to be happening, that's absolutely amazing, let me ask you this first and foremost. We're talking this morning, if you're joining us, thank you, on Sunday Magazine. I'm Melanie Taylor. We're talking to Gary Agate. He is the creator of PitCare Incorporated. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, and of course, he and his wife live in Pitcairn, but there's many more things that we're going to get to very shortly. The website is very easy, pitcare.org, and I'm going to tell you how you're going to be able to follow Gary on a mission that he's going to be doing. But if you would like to go to pitcare.org, there's tons of information there. First and foremost, I'd like to ask you this, Gary, which is a two-part question that I know you're going to know both of the answers to. So it's not like I'm asking anything that you wouldn't know the answer to. Say somebody this morning's listening to this interview, even if it's just one person, and they're like, oh my goodness, what Gary is doing is absolutely amazing. I want to get involved. Here's the two-part question. One, it's a maybe big corporation or a big business listening, and they have some funds that they would love to donate. And two, somebody that's listening that maybe isn't a big corporation or a big business and just wants to volunteer that time. Do you accept donations, and do you accept volunteers?
We gladly accept both. Yes.
I kind of knew the answer would be pretty easy, right?
Right. Thanks for setting me up for a nice, easy, great response.
Okay, good. So tell everybody how they could do that or how they would get involved to do that.
So specifically for my walk, we're looking for corporate sponsors. You can go to Gary at pitcare.org, and you can learn how you can do that. There's different levels of sponsorship. When I'm walking for 2.5 months all the way down the coast, we have an RV half of the time. We'll have the names on the side if we need to. We'll have some T-shirts, but mainly it's for people to come on board and say, hey, we want to help out in Pitcairn, and for all the things that you're doing, we want to be a part of that. As far as volunteers, they can go also on there and find information. Heather is our director here in town and the director of operations, so she can help with that. We just had a church come down here in New Covenant just a few weeks ago. They sent 72 people down in a week's time.
Wow.
Helped us work on buildings, the library, some homes. So there's all kinds of ways to help financially and hands-on.
And they can go to pitcare.org, or they can just even email you, Gary at pitcare.org, correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
We'll be in touch with them if they do that.
All right. This is Melanie Taylor. Thank you for joining us this morning on Sunday Magazine. We're talking to Gary Agate, PitCare Incorporated, the 501c3 nonprofit. But Gary is embarking, and you may have seen his story. You may have read about his story in and around the Pittsburgh area. What is about to happen as he leaves PitCare. And I would like you to get into what you're going to do, Gary, on the morning of September 2nd. So just start with the idea and start what you're going to be doing.
September 2nd is Labor Day, and it works out great because the traffic will be small. I'm going to leave Pitcairn at 6 a.m. in the morning over here to the Speedway. We're at 48 and turn right all the way up and over the hill down into McKeesport. And I'll be walking probably 22 miles the first day, and we'll be getting on the Gap Trail, the great Allegheny Passageway Trail. And I'll be heading to D.C. It'll take me about 3 weeks to get there with my wife alongside me, supporting me with a tent and sleeping bags, and we will camp, and I will be walking, and she will be biking all the way to D.C. At that point, she will take off and head to Florida and kind of wait for me, and my friend Jeff and Dawn, who have been wonderful ministry partners with us. They came just 1 year after us, so they've been here for 8 years also. Jeff was nearing retirement, and he bought a used RV, and the whole thing just fell into place. So he's going to show up in D.C. right at the end of September. He'll pace me for 20 to 25 miles all the way down the coast till I get to Orlando. That's my goal.
I mean, Gary, seriously, how does this come about? Like, how do you think, I'm going to wake up one morning. Oh, I'm waking up one morning and I'm thinking, this is what I'm going to bike all the way, 300 miles. Like, how do you come up with this?
Well, I'm kind of an active guy. I'm like I said, I retired from Turner Dairy from working, which is hard work over there.
Well,
Great
yeah.
company and all, but I didn't want to quit working, so I invest all my time and energies here in town and helping out. So when I get to thinking about, all the kids and everything around here, there's a lot of them struggle with things to do, getting to events and things. So this whole idea of being able to do anything you set your mind to it, I think is huge. And since they know me, I just kind of a little bit of a role model, I guess, and I want to also model the fact that put your mind to something and you can do it. And I'm going to do this walk to say, I'm going to walk 1,200 miles. I'm sure there could be obstacles along the way, but it's not going to stop me. Dreams are achievable. Just push these obstacles aside and push through them, and I'll be able to tell this story to them for years to come to say, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, and that's what we want to do, help kids all the way through the process of education.
Unbelievable. I just think you're just absolutely amazing with this story. We're talking this morning to Gary Agate. This is Melanie Taylor on Sunday Magazine. He has, of course, that nonprofit 501c3, PitCare Incorporated, that he developed and established around 2014 when it all got kicked off with a great idea in his community with his wife and children, and encouraging mentorship with students that would come to his house. Literally, it just started with like weekly dinners. And this is now where we are right now. And I want to mention, too, Gary, that when you kick off this walk, and it's not really kicking it off because you're walking, well, I should say biking and walking the trail, bike will your wife is going to support you on her bike, correct?
Right. Yep.
So absolutely unbelievable. And it'll kick off Monday morning, September 2nd at 6 a.m. I want to make sure that everybody knows that if they go to pitcare.org, you were telling me, and I mentioned it earlier in the interview off the air too, that if you click on the Mr. Gary's Walk right on the top, there's a link up there. What can they actually do if they click that link? What happens?
It will lead them to tell them how they can donate through various avenues to be able to give money. There's a whole system that tells you just how to give through credit card or for different ways. I'm not the technical guy. There's some ladies putting this all together. I said, listen, you handle all that promo stuff. That's fine. I'm going to focus on the walk. So but that is how to get through. PitCare.org, PitCare.org, Mr. Gary's Walk. It's very simple. It will lead you right through how to give.
That is absolutely amazing. And could they actually see what's happening too? So it'll be some like live things that are going on, like right in the moment?
Yes, we have about 1,000 followers all right now that are following what we've been doing. We have a goal of $100,000. I'm just not being shy about that.
Oh my
We're going to have a full-time staff person running this library for years to come. It takes a lot of money. I always say, ministry is expensive, and more ministry is more expensive, and that's where we are. If we want to up the game here and have staff people, it requires funds, and so that's what we're about. We're asking people to help us in this journey. So we're about 10% there already.
Already,
we haven't even left yet. Yep.
How does that make you feel, Gary?
Well, a lot of support. Like I said, when the churches come down to help us, different churches, it's not just New Covenant, it's come down various churches, Penn Hills, all around. We have mission teams coming from Georgia the last couple of years.
Wow.
They send teams of 20 up, and they're putting in sidewalks, rehabbing homes with us, all kinds of things. So, yeah, people are looking for a way to give and to help. We just happen to be the conduit for that people to give their funds or come and put in sweat equity. We're just that place where you can go. Sort of like the Pittsburgh Project. There's a lot of organizations that are doing all kinds of things. We are just one more of them, and we're proud to be able to help in this way. And I want to have some skin in the game. I'm the president of the board, so I got to show them, hey, we can do this thing. Let's do it together.
This is absolutely amazing. We're talking this morning to Gary Agate, the creator and founder of PitCare Incorporated, the 501c3, C3, the nonprofit. I'm Melanie Taylor. The website is pitcare.org. And of course, right at pitcare.org, the link at the top is you can find and donate everything on the walk that Gary is going to be starting on September 2nd. And you could just link right at the top, click the link. It's Mr. Gary's Walk. All right, I'm going to become like a 7 or 8 year old right now and ask you this question, which I'm sure within speaking of some of the children and all of the children that you do know, you've gotten maybe this one time. What happens if you have to go to the bathroom and you want to eat? What do you do? What do you do?
Well, I got a backpack on me, and I've got a camel pack with 2.5 liters of water, so I'm just going to have that with me. I hate to say this, but I got a little shovel in the back of my backpack, and I'll be wandering into the woods, and I'll be burying whatever I put there, and I'll go on my way.
And that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, and especially when Jeff gets over with his RV, he's promised me a nice big home cooked dinner at night. And for night I have a bed in there to sleep with. I just got to be able to walk 20 to 25 miles a day for 2.5 months. So Saturday I jumped on the new Westmoreland Heritage Trail here in Trafford, and I walked out to Export, and 12 miles out, and I had a glass of water. Actually, I had a big quart of Turner's iced tea, and I walked back 12 miles. So 25 miles in a day, and it gets a little tough, but I think as I get into this day to day, I just got to – I don't know what my body's going to do, but I'm trusting the Lord, too. He's going to be with me the whole way, so – that's the plan. That's the plan.
He's going to guide you. Are you getting any national attention yet for this story, Gary?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't, not that I know of.
Not that you know of, but you never know how things in this day and age, I hate to say it, but things go viral. And that's what they say. These things just expand and grow, and who knows what's going to happen from this? You really don't. You're just doing what you feel in your heart is right and what is guiding you. And who knows what can come of this? You're doing something awesome for the children. We're talking this morning to Gary Agate. Of course, he is talking about the nonprofit PitCare Incorporated and his huge walk, Mr. Gary's Walk, that kicks off September 2nd. He is walking literally the bike trail from D.C., 300 miles. His wife's going to support him on her bike. They'll tent camp along the trail. Then D.C. to Orlando via the East Coast Greenway Trail. Is that right? And Route 17 along the East Coast?
Yep.
And then you can actually watch that. This is actually, he's raising funds, and the funds, that's what he needs, and the sponsorships. You can actually go there right now, pitcare.org, and right at the link at the top, click on Mr. Gary's Walk. So some of the kids that you've been talking to about this that know that what you're doing and raising this money, seeking to raise funds for the staffing of the library, what are some of the kids that maybe are down and out or they don't feel they can do something? How have you seen that this has brought such light to their lives, thinking that, well, if Gary can, I can?
Well, we have we also run a Kids of Steel program here in the first 3 months of the year, February, March, and April, and we have about 25 kids that come, and we teach nutrition and exercise. And, we jog around the gym, the Propel School right here in PitCare, and then we go down, and there's like 7,000 kids. It's the day before the Pittsburgh Marathon. We went down there this past year, and there's 25 kids all with us, and they get to run a couple miles. And so they have all kinds of aspirations where we can, we have to help them through this, figuring out how do I get from point A to point B. And even in my life, how do I do this? And it's really modeling. And when we model things, just parenting or whatever, we're showing, leading by example, and it's just one step in front of the other. But it's got to be forward motion and trying to think and smart, just like food choices. Eat properly, best you can, fruits, vegetables. We're pushing the whole program. So looking for the future. That's all for the kids.
And that's exactly what it is. So the website, once again, pitcare.org, right at the top. The link is Mr. Gary's Walk. We're talking this morning to Gary Agate. Of course, he is the founder of PitCare Incorporated, the 501c3 nonprofit. This is Melanie Taylor on Sunday Magazine. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left, Gary. And I want, if somebody's just joining us a little late this morning, I want you to tell everybody again what PitCare actually does, what you provide.
PitCare is like I said, a 501c3. We look at ourselves as a help here in town. We want to come alongside churches. We want to come alongside families. We want to offer. I don't believe there's ever been a library in Pitcairn. So to open a lending library, and that may sound passé, but down here, the kids just come. We have 25 kids showing up today. We're starting a choir for the next 2 weeks. It's just one thing after another to help parents, support them, support the kids. So we run that. I offer bicycles to the kids. They come and help me work on them. We run the food pantry on Broadway. We have a building we had to purchase down there for $100,000. We have to run that. We're in partnership. We're trying to get in partnership with Family Guidance for the first of the year to run a mentoring program, which they do excellent work at. So it's just one program after another, and we're looking for people to support us, come alongside us. I'm willing to put the miles in. I'm willing to. I don't know what it's going to look like with my body. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm willing to hurt. I'm asking for people to come hurt along with me in their wallet. Just give a little till it hurts a little bit. That's all.
Gary, you're absolutely amazing. You're much stronger than most people are mentally and physically and emotionally, but I think I know why. I think it is in your heart, and like you said, the blessings of your Lord and your wife and the children, the 7 kids, blended family, the 21 grandkids, and how you just felt that when you moved to PitCare in 2010 that you just wanted to do something, and you reached out, you did it, and this is kind of where you're at right now. And I understand, and I know that feeling of wanting to help, and I think more of us in this world need to be kinder and gentler and better. And I think you're a part of that, Gary. You do know that, right?
We're trying. Absolutely. I encourage a lot of people to just jump in, find a need, and fulfill it.
There you go.
Look where someone's needed and to help out.
Now, tell everybody once again before we end, we have about a minute left, a little less than a minute. Tell everybody again how they can watch and donate. Tell them how to do it.
Go onto our website, www.pitcare.org, Pitcare. The top of the page, you'll see Mr. Gary's Walk. That'll guide you and lead you through the avenue in which you can help donate. You can go to Gary@pitcare.org even and get more information on how to help us in the long term down here. If you want to be a part of volunteering things, there's lots of stuff to do here, so appreciate that.
And Gary, is anybody that you want to say thank you to this morning?
It could be a whole raft of people, but Don and Jeff Owen are our dear friends that live one block away. They've been through this with us the whole time. Jeff has given up a month and a half of his time also as people just serving to come alongside. And again, my wife is doing this wonderful deal with camping, bringing her bicycle along. So my wife, Carol, is a great help to me, and so we're going to do this together.
That's awesome, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us today on Sunday Magazine.
Thank you.
More from CBS Radio's Sunday Magazine.